Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Where do we start, man? Where do we start? So
Jesus winner.
Huh?
Jesus winner.
Oh, 20 million deposit.
Yeah.
20 million deposit and 100 million coming.
Yes.
Everyone.
And military land.
Eh?
Yes.
This the president was on national TVs last year, promising that no more will there be harambes. He actually mandated the AG to craft a law to ban harambes or to look at the ways of doing harambes or doing public michangos.
Yeah.
But now here, a few months later, the president now says, I'm natolea Mungu. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says that mtu akitolea Mungu bishop anarudisha. I think it's just that we are gullible. Ningekuwa huyo bishop anaitwa nani? Huyo witness.
Mwai.
At least pia angechukua hiyo 20 na aseme president ilichukua tu rudi nayo. Tuone venye how it, but because unajua Jeff kama uko na njaa ukipewa kidogo huwezi kataa. Alafu some of our churches, they trade in money, not in spirit. Kazi yao ni kupata hiyo pesa kidogo amepata basi. They develop and then they enrich themselves.
By the way, does 20 million fit into a rucksack kama hii ama a duffel bag?
That is the highest level of opulence. The one thing that got onto the Gen Z's nerves, opulence. For the president, he doesn't need to buy an expensive belt or that expensive shoe for you to know that he's displaying the opulence. He just needs to donate and dish out these monies in churches and all those harambes. And that is getting onto Kenyans' nerves.
Correct.
Because you keep coming back with the narrative that there's no money.
People
are on the streets protesting. People are hustling left, right, and center. And then on one Sunday, you want to let go 20M just like that. Someone said that is the March award in the devolved unit. Award gets
20 billion.
Yeah, that finances our award for one whole financial year.
For the first time, I saw a PhD holder, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, met with a BA holder, where a BA is born again as the highest level of qualification. And he's always said that his highest level of qualification is born again, so he's BA. And they were discussing, for me, what pains me. And I am moving to court, by the way, Jeff. I have already spoken to my advocates. We are moving to court. You cannot allocate 20 acres of public land against the wishes of KDF. I'm looking at today's standard. And that is captured here very well. 20 acres in Nairobi of our land. Upatie pastor moja juu amekusifu. By the way, why didn't he give it to Pastor Lai? Because Pastor Lai told him he's corrupt. So when you are a pastor and you qualify because you have a cheering school, Pastor Moi has mastered the art of Nairobi politics. He just meets his people early before the president come and he whips them. And he turns the whole church into a cheering school. And the more they cheer, the more the president gives. The more they cheer, the more they... That cheering school there, by the Kenyans are planning to go and worship there on Sunday. They have made it very clear that they want to go and visit Pastor Moi. They want to go and worship in his church as well. And just understand why you would turn the whole church into a cheering squad. So it has become that if you want to become the president's friend, all you need to do is to come and cheer him and to preach in a way that makes him happy. Because Pastor Moi was preaching in a way that was making William Ruto happy. But on the issue of public land, be assured that maybe before I even move to court, someone else would have moved to court. But on this one, we are challenging. You can do anything else with 20 million, 100 million. We know it's our money. We have seen what's happening to schools in Baringo, by the way. You saw children are sitting on stones. Others are sitting outside. And the head of state is donating a deposit of 20 million. And then he's promising another 100 million. So let it be very clear to everybody out there that Kenyans are not happy. And personally, I am moving to court because of the land issue.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
We are going to challenge it. You cannot just come and give out public land like that, like it's biscuits. But Pastor Moi needs to understand that corruption, it takes two to be corrupt. If this public land had been given to a bar holder or if this public land had been given to somebody who was going to run an entertainment spot, everybody would have come up in arms. Why is it okay that public land can be given to church? And why that church? I wish it was a school. Because if you turn it into a school or a college, then we are okay. It serves the public. But you cannot turn it into a private entity of a church. Unajua kanisa za siku hizi ni kama success card, inekangwa picha ya bwana na bibi hapo, ni kama success card zile za kitambo. No, we are not going to allow this one. We are moving to court.
Bizarre week by any standards, and it was in clear contrast of what he had said in the aftermath of the revolt by Kenya's Gen Zs when he disbanded his cabinet on the 5th of July 2024. And it tells a lot on the part of the leadership of the country headed by the president to renege on the very same declaration that he made of henceforth at the time that state officials will not be involved in donations, and he himself now coming out. I think if you do an aggregate of what he has donated in Mombasa, in Baringo, and in Roysambu on Sunday, it clearly tells you that he's not only in opposite or in stark contrast of what he said, but he's not leaving his own statement. And this is just part of a flip-flop of the many instances where he has reneged on statements that he has made.
Yeah, that's, I think, the headlines in the Standard of where you saw that, right? Double speak.
We know that he has sold chicken and eggs and he's man with money. But if you try, like Ayub says, if you aggregate what he has donated for in a weekend, 120. Baringo he donated, I don't know, 20 million. In Mombasa he donated, I don't know how many millions. Hii pesa yote natoa wapi? You ask yourself, where are you getting this money?
Yeah.
Because even if you are one of the richest presidents in the world, you can't be donating, you can't be dishing out money that much, and making everybody else look like he's a very mean. Wewe ndio unajua kutoa.
Yeah.
You and Sudi. It can't be.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. And Jeff, a president, President Ruto wants to operate as if he's President Moi, where he could come and say, hii shamba, or President Kenyatta, hii shamba nimepatia Jeff. The Constitution clearly says there's a clear path of transferring public land to a private hands. The president is not anywhere near that process, and so you must go through the NLC for you to transfer public land to become private land.
Correct.
So this one, even if Fanyamambo goes to court, I think this is one of the easiest ones that will be overturned, because there's a clear path. There's a law that prescribes how to change land from public land to private land, and the president is nowhere near that process.
Katiba has significantly downgraded the powers of the presidency, yet he yields or remains with partly a good component or portion of power, including the state of emergencies as the commander-in-chief. But power has been devolved. Therefore, there are some issues, leave alone the process of land registration, which involves the National Land Commission, a constitutional commission. The president, for example, cannot arrest you. For example, he has no prosecutorial powers. That tells you that the state therefore bears the responsibility of being accountable to the people, and the Kenyan people must understand that power is not absolute in the current constitutional dispensation.
Absolutely. Okay, next topic. Sha shi sho sha shu. The Auditor General herself has said, yeah,
2.5% is going into the pockets of individuals.
Who?
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So this is what she said.
And it affects your salary.
Yes, of course. 2.5% of our contribution plus 5% of the healthcare facilities that they do pay, and 1.5% of track and trace solutions. All that money goes to an escrow account.
Okay. That's a total of 9%.
Yes.
Tuendele?
All right. So Dr. Gadhungu says that in 10 years, that will amount to 111 billion Kenya shillings. All right, okay? And according to her report, this money is going to that escrow account on daily basis. So 111 minus 104 billion, which was meant to procure the system. So we are working with 7 billion Kenya shillings already operating outside that. On top of it, Dr. Margaret Nyakango yesterday appeared before the Delegated Legislation Committee chaired by Gladys Bose at the National Assembly. And she said all the contributions made to SHIF, the Social Health Insurance Fund, and the housing levy are not operational or are not deposited in the Consolidated Fund Services, which is the pot where tunaweka pesa zetu, and then any amount you are taking out of that must be approved by her office. So she said all this is outside the CFS.
Where is it?
Theft.
We did stories about this online, whatever, and we mentioned here David D. We mentioned here people who had been mentioned adversely as being involved in that whatever online platform, and the Auditor General has laid these things bare now. She has laid it bare, and it just shows you that as Kenyans we are being taken for granted. Hii pesa yetu inakulwa tu. And we were wondering why SHA is not SHA. Is it SHA or SHIF? We are wondering why it's not working.
Yeah.
Because we know we are being told that as of now there are 19 million people who have registered on SHA.
Right.
The contributors still remain 3 million. So the 19 million are still wanting to use that money, money being contributed by 3 million people for medication. It cannot work, Jeff. You know, when this thing started, the government was supposed to put in around 70 billion for to enable SHA to work. But this financial year, it only put in 7 billion.
And Maruto, the biggest losers.
We have two problems here that surround the whole issue about SHA. One, we now have this that we are being told about accountability of whatever Kenyans are contributing towards this. Two, we have this problem where Kenyans cannot access medication or treatment, the services, because SHA is not working. So we have on one hand a government struggling to implement the SHA that they are already deducting from taxpayers, and then we have this other end where the government is struggling to explain, will now be struggling to explain to Kenyans how they are eating this money. Yet they are saying, a few weeks ago they complained about 19 million Kenyans who are on board SHA, but only 4 million Kenyans are contributing. You know, if the 4 million Kenyans are the only people contributing, yet we are seeing what is happening, then what does it tell you about those that are complaining of not getting services? Even these 4 million Kenyans dues that are being collected are being siphoned in this manner. It is just unimaginable.
That's a word, unimaginable.
I was reading that report, and I feel like I want to leave this country and just go somewhere else. You know, they procured a system, and procedurally, they procured a system for 104 billion. And when you think of what it is that they are calling a system, because hakuna kitu imechange, by the way, it's just something, a system, 104 billion. I don't think people understand what 104 billion is. No. That's what they used to procure the system. And this system, when you look at NHIF, I've always told people, the only thing I see is this snake and the S. It was the same thing. It costs just a lot of money to change and put a S in front of NHIF so that it becomes SHIF. But it's not 104 billion is what they spent.
You know, it cost Kibaki's government 32 billion to build the Thika superhighway.
Yes.
These are three
Thika superhighways in something software that we cannot touch. I think we should just disband the country and all go home.
And by the way, there was the inclusion of a clause in the contract. I don't know who had appended his signature to that, preferably here, the State Department of Health, where you cannot, any government agency cannot procure or is authorized or are authorized to develop, access a product of similar functionalities. It then means you cannot procure another system. Just like the same pathway with Adani, you remember?
Yes.
That you lock out any other future investments. What then happens to our kids in the event they have enough money and capital and they want to invest back in their country? Basically, you are pigeonholed.
Who has the IP for this?
All right, and
intellectual property.
It's a third party. It's a third party. The CEO of the acting CEO of the Social Health Authority admitted before Parliament, and this was in confidence, and he said that at times whatever they approve you realize they do so through Excel sheets. And you know, in Excel you can edit and re-edit. So I can say probably I'm supposed to bet 50 million instead of 31. Okay? And here's another thing. Let's talk about affordable housing, all right? Yesterday, the papers covered also the Auditor General's report on affordable housing. She said in the report, the State Department of Housing entered into contracts with various contractors for the construction of affordable houses across the country at a total of 49.4 billion. However, land ownership paperwork for sites where the projects are being implemented were not provided for audit. So hiyo nyumba hata ukinunua, you're not sure because the mother title is not provided for. So who is undertaking these projects? And the money is not ending up in the consolidated fund services for the approval of the control of budget.
When all this nonsense is going on, we are losing human lives. You know, that's what people are not talking about. When you go to a hospital and you are turned away, you know, there's nothing as sad as going to a hospital and you are seeing a sick person being turned away. This is not money. Yeah, this is not a bar where someone is going to look for alcohol and they are sent away and they go home sober. This is a hospital. You are coming in critical condition and you are being told that Shasheshishoshu is not working and that you do not have money and you are turned away. And Kenyans are unhappy. And the government is okay. It's okay with knowing that people are burying their own. Na lao sasa unakutana kuna mujinga tu wako mahali anachia anasema Ruto 10 bila breaks. I keep telling Baba, and I have told him many times, Baba, please make it clear. We want to know where you stand. Because the problem is sometimes we are aiming our jabs at Ruto. Not just because hata tukiwa na rigiji kuna ballistic missiles tunatuma and they are very explosive. Sasa zile umepima when you are about to release, Baba anapita hapo katikati. Sasa haujui kama amekuja kunywa chai ama, and you don't want him to be hit by a missile that was meant for President William Ruto. Then now we are telling Baba, please, we need to be very clear so that we don't fight somebody who is probably fighting the same fight we are fighting. Baba, tangaza msimamo. Come and tell us where you are so that we don't end up in the line of fire and you are hit by a missile that was meant for President William Ruto. So that if you people are together, it is okay. You can tell Kenyans, I am working with William Ruto for now. And then now all of us can say this is the same enemy. We start bashing all of you together. Ama useme you are not with William Ruto. Lakini Baba, please make it clear for us. Some of us don't want to fight you. We have never had intentions of fighting you. But we know who we are fighting because he has brought this nation to its knees. So if you're with him, just tell us so that now we know it's okay that if our missiles hit you, then they are hitting you rightfully. So unajua unaweza kuwa tu labda tu ameenda kunywa chai alafu sasa ikakutana na missile that was not meant for him, but he needs to make it very clear.
We are missing the point in targeting inconsequential personnel, in my view. And
you're saying Baba is inconsequential?
Well, the former Prime Minister, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, the President William Ruto, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, they are cut from the same cloth. So expecting them to give us answers to the problems or remedy the situation, I think it's a waste of time. That's why my argument is based here, that even as the politicians are regrouping, perhaps now to target the next elections, the payslip fight that Rigathi Gachagua is now fighting for, I mean, clearly you can see the double-speak because the very same person who said that Kenya is a shareholding entity who had hand-on-heart defended why the Kenya Revenue Authority had employed a majority members from two communities, 700 out of 1,400 who came from the central of the Rift Valley regions. The point is I'm making, Jeff, is these are all sinners in the same pot who feed from the same trough and they have common interests. I base my argument on the structure of governance that we have in this country, which is why the Auditor General is answerable to the people of Kenya through their elected representatives who are in Parliament. And the gross failure is on the part of the House, where members of Parliament are either unable to comprehend these reports, they don't understand, or to them this is a non-issue, because her report directly goes to Parliament. Parliament has been granted the powers, Jeff, to even impeach a sitting president. And all these issues you have pointed out here today, Fanyamambo is moving to court, all right? I think that's far-fetched. We have an immediate solution.